So, what comes to your mind when you hear OTM, or Operational Technology Management major? We're not certainly this or this all the time. Don't get me wrong, they're part of it, but that's not us. We're more like this. Okay? We are basically business problem solvers. We're trying to make businesses operate better out there, compete better, okay? By solving problems. Every company has a certain goal to achieve right here. If they find themselves over here, then there's a gap. And we call it as a business problem. Because somehow you have to narrow the gap or eliminate that gap to achieve that goal. And that's where we step in. And it's like playing with a puzzle, the right puzzle. Okay? Take into account every single thing that's required and needed in running daily operations for any business organizations. Okay? So let me give you one very quick example about what OTM is all about. How many of you guys been to Rostar for Raiders game? And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen that new concession stand. That's basically something like that. Okay? It's a digital signage with all the menus. At the same time, you can actually follow the game while you're standing online. Okay? As you can see, if you take a look at it, there are two digital signage, both one on the outside, one in the inside. So any guest who waiting online looking for, placing the order for whatever food that they're looking for cannot miss out on the game. Okay? If you go to any games, during the intermission, let's say somehow you're up for petrol, right? And when you see your concession stand with a long line, what do you do? You definitely don't want to miss out on the game, right? So if you see the whole thing from the company's point of view, that's a loss in sale. Okay? So you got to do something better so that you can actually, increase your profit and increase your revenue. And that's where this guy comes into play. Okay? Over here, as you can see, this digital signage and everything, that's the technology right there. But it's not solely about putting up a new technology for the sake of putting up the new technology. It has to make sense for the Blazers to perform better. Well, actually, they spent about $450,000 of investment to create that. And they recouped the investment with about $200,000 more profit within a year. Because it's very easy to change the menu. We're talking about reduction in operating costs. Okay? At the same time, customers, they actually don't mind standing online waiting for the food because they cannot miss out on that game. At the same time, over there, if there is an empty space, you can actually sell those space for advertising. There's an extra opportunity for generating revenue. But if you think about the whole thing though, you have to think about all the other aspects of the business at the same time. How to make the line moving quickly. Okay? How can you make your customers standing on the line satisfied with their experience? Okay? And I'm pretty sure you guys have seen one of these sort of pump machine at Burger King. Okay? Waffle used to be my favorite food for lunch. And with that, I don't go to Burger King anymore because I just cannot stand waiting on line to get a soda. Because there are so many people actually interested in actually finding out the whole machine and everything that actually created a bottleneck on the order line. Okay? So it's not about going with the new technology to make yourself look better or look good. It's all about whether or not it makes sense to the way you run your business. Okay? That's what we do. And we have a set of curriculums where you can actually learn different techniques and different tools to analyze all those different types of aspects to solve the business. Okay? So, this is part of the current media, current press, from Forbes, September 20th, 2013. They actually did this survey and came up with the top 10 how did you measure in terms of best or highest starting salary? How do you know? Right there. Information systems, logistics and materials management, that's business operations. So we are inside the top 10. So you probably want to think about that aspect of the whole thing. Okay? So numbers definitely show, and these guys will actually tell you something about the career and the benefits and the type of career paths these guys have gone through. The numbers actually don't lie, and they say it's a hot measure of income. Okay? So like I said, going back to the very first PowerPoint study you saw, a lot of our graduates out there working as business problem solvers, being analysts, pricing analysts, business process analysts, data analysts, information analysts, and such. So with that, I'll give this podium to Dr. Mitchell.
How many of you have heard somebody refer to Nike as a marketing company? They frequently do that. Maybe less so today than they used to. And they do a great job of marketing. But how much money would Nike make if they didn't have shoes to sell or apparel to sell? Right? So, if you think about what Nike really does, it moves product. Now, maybe it doesn't manufacture the product itself, but without that product, without some business operation, all of Nike's marketing would be meaningless. And if you think about most companies that you know, it doesn't matter whether you do a lot of marketing or it's a finance company, even a bank, we'd all agree that that's a finance company, right? And yet the bank has operations. And the vast majority of people that work in the bank work in the operations function of the bank. So if you wonder what kind of careers operations and technology management will lead you to, well, you're going to hear some of that here. People from Pennington Cold Storage, City of Portland, Adidas, Acme Business Consulting. But let me just plant this idea. Virtually every organization on the planet has operations. And what we learn or what we teach you in operations and technology management will allow you to help every one of those companies operate better, more cost-effectively, or more profitably. If it's a non-profit organization, making more of their budget than they'd otherwise be able to. What we do, as Mike said, is solve problems. Think of operations and technology management as the science of better. So I'm sure you want to listen to these folks far more than you want to listen to us, because you're going to hear plenty from us over the next 4 years. So I think we ought to turn it over. Do you have a particular order, Mike? So why don't we start with Mr. Ben Berry. Ben has been a great friend of the University of Portland and the Operations and Technology Management Group. He was one of the founding charter members of our Executive Advisory Board for the OTM program. And I'm going to turn it over to Ben.
Thank you, Gary. And thanks for having us out here today. I was a student out there a number of decades ago, kind of wondering what I was going to do. I had this notion of technology. And my Operations and Technology Management degree program of the day was called Computer Applications Management. And so I took that up. That was my forte that actually kind of springboard my career. Today I'm the Chief Technology Officer for the City of Portland. So I have about 250 staff who deal with IT and operations. I also own my own company called Airship Technologies Group, where we design and manufacture unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, if you will, for both the commercial sector and now a recent contract. We're almost closing with the U.S. Navy for the military. I highly respect this degree program, and it has sent me around the world 3 times during those 30 years of being in IT. So you can't go wrong with OTM. I've been on the board now for about, I think, about 5 years. We've seen a number of graduates come out of the OTM program. They've landed jobs either before they graduate or immediately after graduation. So I'm a believer in this program. Thank you.
I went to the University of Portland from 2004 to 2009, and as Dr. Mitchell was saying, Closer. All right,
Closer,
there we go.
Colin.
Was one of the first students to study OTM, so didn't really know what I was getting into necessarily until I took tech ops, enjoyed it, and wanted some more, so I decided to study and ended up graduating and working for a company that now pays some cold storage. We're really a partner with food production companies who actually make the goods that you and I would buy at Safeway or whatever, and partner with them during the production process for their raw materials or finished goods. And really, we play the role of the middleman in the supply chain to aid them during the production process to get the food from field to store to your plate. And really, we do this by partnering with our customers to work with them, understand, as Dr. Holm was saying, understand what their problems are and how we can help them work through these things to get their main problem done, which is getting food out of fields and into a processed food that you and I can buy in the store. But studying operations at UP here really exposes you, or exposed me to a diverse set of problem-solving skills that are applicable for me in everything I do, whether it's actually designing a system or managing people that are going to work within your system that you construct. Because some people in some warehouses have robots, as we were talking about, but in my system, it's 30 different people with 30 different personalities to get to do what we need to do. So, it's an interesting challenge. It's not necessarily playing around in Microsoft Excel all day. That may be how you start to design a system, but after that, you have to maintain the system for it to work and get everyone to work well in your system because there are people just like you and I are. They have good days, bad days, and different problems. So, I would say the thing that is really neat about operations is it's so diverse and covers, just a vast range of topics and different things that you do, whatever you like. What I do is probably very different than what all these other folks do, whether it's consulting or ideas or wherever it may be. And that all falls under the operations umbrella. Studying OTM here sets you up on a nice springboard to go in any given direction you choose. So I graduated in 2009, started working at Henningsen Cold Storage, traveled around the country, lived in 4 different states, working at our different operations, understanding all the different aspects of them, and now have had an opportunity to manage warehouse operations out of 2 Portland facilities for the last couple of years here. So honestly, probably a relatively short time after finishing school, getting put into a pretty challenging situation as far as managing and directing 30, 40 people. So it's been a lot of fun. It's a lot of different things that you see every single day. In my experience, it's been a challenge, but it's been something that's new and exciting and not monotonous every single day. I think I was set up relatively well for my background here at UP. From what I've heard, the program has only changed and grown more robust since my time here. So you guys have a phenomenal set of professors and fantastic coursework that is phenomenal. Yeah, so going back to different opportunities that present themselves, it's been fun after school to see the different job offers that and opportunities that you have. I'm currently working through a decision to move to the next level at my particular company, from managing day-to-day warehouse operations to being the head general manager at a new facility that we'll build here locally in Salem. Which would involve a really cool process initially of saying, okay, we have to build the system, establish the processes, get to know the customer, hire the people, build a team of 40 to 50 people, and then make it work. So, really cool opportunity where, it would be a big task, but a lot of fun and a lot of challenge to take something from the ground, build a complete system, and then watch it grow and succeed. So that's my story, I guess, and pretty fun opportunity. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but good problem to have.
Very good. Thank you.
try to go super close, okay.
Close,
Hi,
close.
everyone. Again, my name is Kristen Hansen. I am Vice President of the Supply Chain for Adidas North America. And I do not have a degree in OTM. In fact, I don't have a degree in anything close to OTM. I actually have a degree in psychology. Just strange how it got me from there to here, but I'll talk a little bit about that. So my first job was as a, in Portland, and I got a job as a purchasing agent at a local lawn and garden chemical company. And, you know, I mean, there was nothing in psychology that helped me with that job. But what did help me was a natural curiosity for problem solving, and also a natural curiosity for systems. And so at this company, I started to kind of look at ways to streamline processes within purchasing. And funny enough, I was working with some consultants who were working over at the sportswear, and they said, hey, they're looking for a forecast analyst. And I said, oh, that sounds like fun, so I went over there. And I was forecasting jackets and fleece and all that stuff, and started working through their new ERP system. And they said, hey, do you want to be, we have this role that's kind of been created called business analyst. Do you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'd love to be a business analyst. Because again, I had this kind of curiosity and I wanted to streamline business processes. And I understood how systems could help business flow better. And then I was in IT for quite some time. And at some point I was in IT and I was like, you know, I kind of want to start making business decisions. Columbia Sportswear at the time didn't have supply chain. They basically had pure operational roles and pure IT roles. And my boss said, why don't you write a job description? So I wrote this job description and says, you know what, there's this kind of emerging field called supply chain. And so shortly thereafter, he created a role called head of supply chain for Columbia Sportswear. And then ultimately I went over to Adidas and in a number of years become vice president of supply chain there. But through my career and in hiring, I currently have over 400 people reporting to me. And I look for these individuals who have this natural curiosity, this understanding of operations and technology. And it's kind of been one of those things where I've learned to interview for it. And then I actually met Gary, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a program that actually generates these individuals. And so all of a sudden, and one of the reasons why I wanted to be connected to the program is, quite frankly, it's a recruiting pool that I'm very interested in. You know, we have quite a number of individuals at Adidas who graduated from the program. One of them right now actually is down, just as far as the type of things I work on. One of the individuals right now I've actually lent out to our subsidiary in Brazil to help them set up their systems and business processes to prepare for the World Cup that's coming up this year. But yeah, there's quite a number of opportunities, and really it can lead you anywhere. And certainly, you know, you spoke about Nike, which but yes, they are marketing companies, and yes, they have products, but it's the operations and the supply chain and the technology that bring all of that to the consumer. So I think, yeah, that's kind of my story, and I'm a huge supporter of this program.
All right.
Hi, everyone is a little bit tired tonight. Are you guys feeling freshman year, right? Tired? Thursday night?
Yeah, very good.
7 to 10 class. Say that. I'm Jennifer Anderson. I graduated in 2010 with OTM. I think I was technically the first class to graduate with it fully, but that's fallen. Like I just said, I work on her team actually. She's awesome. I started out in finance, so even though I was OTM, I was still very partial to other parts of the business. I was actually hired on in finance as a pricing analyst, and like seriously within that first year, from the things that I learned in OTM, I was doing compliance forecasting for the CFO to review, set targets for next year. I've just been given an amazing opportunity with every department I've worked in. The reporting and the systems work and the process understanding that OTM gives to you, you'll blow people's mind in the marketplace. and that's been true in every role I've been in. Right now I work for, in supply chain, but I work really closely with running, so I purchase all the running apparel and footwear. And the reports and the buy plans and everything I'm able to put together for them, I sit with the head of running literally every other week and go over buy plans for the market for success. So OTM generates great careers, more than money, more than anything else. You're going to be making an impact. You're going to be in a field that has a ton of opportunity. I mean, not only Adidas is growing their supply chain, I mean, of course, Nike is too. They came out a couple years back saying that was their biggest field that they were willing to grow. And actually, my mother-in-law works over in supply chain over there for HR, and she is pulling people right and left out of UP, and which kind of makes me mad, 'cause of course I want you guys over at Adidas someday. So we're battling a little bit there. So just everything I've heard about OTM graduates, we make it out in the marketplace. The people that have graduated before you, we've made a huge impact. We've done the legwork. You guys just need to make the decision, and it'll be, and put in the hard work, and come join us out in the marketplace. So give OTM a shot. It's a lot of work. Use your resources. The professors here are amazing, and I spent hours in Dr. Mitchell's office every single week for tech ops, just every single class. So, but they're great resources. He's like the main reason I have a job at Adidas, so can't stress enough how awesome OTM is, and yeah.
Cool.
That's it. So I,
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Adam. When I was at UP a number of years ago, there was no OTM major. My major was accounting. And so I did accounting for a year and decided that was not going to be my area of real interest. So you guys are already said, hey, I'm not going to be accounting nerds. But I think the thing that I thought was most interesting is after my degree in accounting, I went back to do my MBA. When I did my MBA, I really did an emphasis in technology. That led me to be able to join a Big 5 consulting firm where I spent a number of years. And then myself and 3 partners started our firm here in Portland with offices in Seattle and San Diego. What I think is really interesting about technology is if you look at innovation, so much of innovation is that technology is at the center of that. Whether you look at what's going on in the Bay Area with those technology companies, we talked about some of the companies in Portland. We do a lot of work with companies, sportswear, Nike. If you read even Nike's analyst report that they published last week, one of their big emphasis of growth is what they call direct-to-consumer, and specifically digital commerce. Right now, that number of top-line revenue is about $550 million generated from online revenue. Their goal in 2.5 years is to 4x that to $2 billion. That's a huge investment in technology to make that happen. Tomorrow night, Nike goes live with Nike Japan on their own platform. That's a massive program. Hundreds of people working on that. And that is a huge revenue source. It's a huge strategic focus for them. So the emphasis that you see behind technology, I think, is significant. My firm of 55 people in Portland, probably 80% of them are engaged in very technology-centric projects and programs. So to me, it's kind of like a new language of business. I used to say that accounting was that, and that's still intrinsically really important to understand how things work. But what I'm seeing, what we're seeing is that technology is that platform that companies are investing in major ways. And again, whether that's healthcare, consumer products, manufacturing, you can pretty much name it. And they're on the cusp of looking at their investments in technology and saying, how are we going to move the needle for this business and putting real dollars behind it, driving real top-line revenue expectations. And I think to me, that's what makes this space really interesting. And so, I think for tonight, whatever we can embark on some stuff we're seeing that helps you guys, that's great. I think it's, again, a great space to at least have some interest in. Regardless of where you go, I think technology is going to be a key part of it. Finance, accounting, marketing. When you look at marketing, what's the #1 channel playing out in marketing? Online, right? Whether it's social, it's mobile. That's all enabled by technology. So don't miss that point. That's what's enabling a lot of these core business strategies. So people who can play in both areas, I think, are very talented. Again, there's a huge market. So just keep that.
Very good.
Chris, I'm going to take a couple of minutes just to talk to you about OTM curriculum. And I'm going to start by talking about lunch that I had with Kristen, one of her colleagues, Matt, that I was fortunate to be introduced to today. He's her counterpart. He's the head of IT for Adidas. And we were talking about the OTM curriculum. And Matt was really excited because he's looking for people that understand operations and technology. They're exactly what he's after. He feels that they're critical to the growth of what he wants to do with the business and in making IT an integral part of the company and becoming a partner in driving strategy for the company. And he's got a real vision for it. And here we are, our curriculum is suited for producing just those kinds of people. So fortunately for us, we have nice partners in business like Kristen at Adidas, and Chris and Ben, who have become involved with us over the years. They help us mold our program, and they help us teach our students how to network and help make connections for our students, which is why we're successful so far. So what are the OTM courses like? You heard Jen say, and I lost count of the allotments. You heard Jen basically say that they're hard work, and they are. And maybe they're harder work than some other programs. I don't know how hard our accounting courses or our finance courses are. What I can tell you is that if you like the things that we do at OTM, you won't mind the work. You'll be enjoying it, right? And when you do something you like, it's almost a reward to sit there and do the hard work because it's making you feel like you're doing something worthwhile. The other thing is that Jen's right. The OTM faculty, I think, we have a group of 4 faculty members right now. We're all very committed to our student success. I don't think you can go to a single OTM faculty member who isn't willing to sit however many hours necessary to help our students understand the material. So if you're one of those students and maybe a particular area isn't coming naturally to you, that's okay because that's why we're here to help you. And many of us, you'll see us here at 10, 11 o'clock at night. I've been here after midnight working with students, helping them to understand something, get the material they needed for a course project. We offer a really unique curriculum compared to all other universities that we know of in the area. So OTM majors have a core of courses that they have to take. And you've heard these guys talk about what they think are key elements in business growth. All of our OTM students take systems analysis and design, so they're learning how to make systems work to serve the business. They all take supply chain management, so that every company basically has a supply chain, even if its business isn't about supply chain management. But you look at companies like Adidas, and that's one of their core competencies, is to make sure that they know how to source product appropriately, that they can get it from the source to the U.S., that they can get it from the ports in the U.S. to the locations where it needs to go, whether it's one of their distribution centers or our retail customers. Okay? So we do supply chain. Every OTM student has to take a course about managing innovation and technology. Into Chris's point. And project management. How many of you guys think project management is important for anything that you do? There isn't a company on the face of the earth that isn't engaged in projects now. And increasingly, businesses are doing transformational change that they need to do through projects. Instead of just making a manager who's responsible for everyday operations responsible for that change. Those are just the 4 core courses that you have to take in OTM. And then, depending on what you like most, you can take other courses. More on the LM side, or IT courses, database management, business analytics. Hot topic, right? Everybody's talking business analytics, OTM courses. Or you can do more like Jen did, and you can concentrate on courses like inventory management, and quality management, process analysis, and things like that, if that interests you more. The key is, by the time you're done, you have those kinds of skills that Kristen and Matt are so eager to find, right? And why they come back month after month and year after year and participate in our speed networking. And they volunteer to mentor our students because of how relevant they believe these courses are. So hopefully, courses won't scare you off anymore, in spite of a lot of hard work, because they are really useful and fun. Oh, point. I mentioned that Ben was one of the charter members of our executive advisory board, and both Chris and Kristen are also currently members of the executive advisory board. We were the first discipline within the School of Business to create an executive advisory board. Ours consists of 16 director level and above executives, anywhere from directors to chief operating officers and CIOs. So these are senior people in their companies. About half of them have careers that at least currently have found them in the IS space, information technology space, and the other half more in the operations or management consulting space. And these people come in 4 or 5 times a year for a number of purposes. 1, they mentor our students. 2, they help connect you to people in the industry, either in their company or elsewhere. 3, they help us mold our curriculum. You know, one of the things that's really easy to do in academia is become comfortable in what you're teaching, right? If I'm teaching a class for the 15th time, it's a lot easier than building a brand new class. Let's face it. But in the OTM program, we know that our world is changing, and it changes fairly rapidly. And we want to make sure that what we have in our curriculum is preparing you as well as we can for that real world and those changes. So the executive advisory board members work with us to make sure that the courses that we have in our program for you are in fact preparing you for what is needed out there today and in the next few years. So that's a pretty important resource for us. When you think about it, 16 of these senior people in their fields all around the area in Portland are here on campus with us regularly helping us with the program. And for OTM majors, we have networking socials with these folks about 4 or 5 times a year. So you can be a freshman and you get to talk with the Chief Operating Officer, you get to talk with Ben Berry, the Chief Information Officer, Chris Admet, Managing Director of a Consulting Company, Kristen Hansen, Vice President of Supply Chain at Adidas. These are opportunities that don't come every day. So when you're thinking about what interests you, it's an opportunity to find out whether OTM is right. Because maybe you think, this sounds like it's okay. And after you talk to some of these people, you think, I don't go there at all. Or maybe you're not sure about it, and after talking to them over a few months, wow, I like this. This is exactly what I'm looking for. So, anything else? Questions?
Yeah.
So I guess we'll throw it open to questions, and you can ask questions of anybody. So when you have a question, tell us who you'd like to pose the question to, and then state the question for us.
Hi, my name is Valentino, and I want to ask a question to the OTM graduates. And do you guys have any tips for freshmen who are interested in engaging in OTM?
Yes. Get involved, as Gary's talking about, get involved with the things outside of class. I mean, obviously, we're all going to go to class, we're all going to study, all that great stuff. There's a tremendous amount of opportunity through all the majors at UP with the business school, but especially through OTM. I mean, it's not every day that you get a chance to talk with people that are in very high levels at local companies that give you an opportunity when you're done with school. The sooner you can start building those relationships, the better for you. And going back to points about how hard OTM is, I studied accounting before studying OTM. Both are difficult, you work hard in both. I liked OTM way more, so it's hard work, but you enjoy it more. Those are fun things. But get involved with stuff outside of class.
Yeah, I would say the same. I got involved in the Operations Management Association as well, and they put on like mock interviews, you prepared, and then speed dating interviews, which how I got my job at Adidas. But it also just opens you up. They're partners with APIX, which is the Operations Management Association for Portland, and so you're going to meet business professionals from the industry, and you just get a lot of experience to kind of what industry you want to go in, just experiences, people you would really get to talk to day to day. And I actually used that that experience on an interview question for Adidas about talking to business professionals outside of the, or in the industry. So,
I actually got my job through the speed networking as well.
Wow.
The UPMA is open to anybody. Anybody who's interested in joining can send an email to club@oma.edu. We do other things. We're putting on a case competition internally for OTM students. Actually, just in a couple weeks, in preparation for a case competition that we participated in the last 2 years in Southern California and in Arizona. It's put on by APICS. It's schools competing from 11 western states, Mexico, and Texas. And the last 2 years, UP teams have won. Only 2 years we've participated in the competition. So our program is doing a nice job of preparing people. Other questions?
This is for the UP grads. Would you consider, with your degree from the University of Portland, any more further schooling in order to accelerate yourself in your businesses?
So I got my first degree in at UP, but then I waited about 6 years later for my MBA, and then I had the company pay for that. So I went to use their kind of company in Los Angeles, and then they paid for the UCLA MBA program. So I think it was a boost up in the career, but I needed a certain number of years on the ground to really understand the ins and outs of business before I decided to go with the MBA.
Yeah, so I don't have an MBA. I finished my coursework obviously with my degree initially. It may be something that I do, but not right now. But similarly, I think to do a graduate program on an MBA, I think it's important to put a number of years of experience into your belt so you can basically have a different experience than you did in the undergrad.
I would also concur with these gentlemen. There's other things outside of schooling that you can do. There's through APICS, there's some certifications you can get that will accelerate your career as well. The resume builders, just more experience again with that group of business professionals in the industry. But an MBA, I think I'm thinking about doing actually the MBA or the Masters of Science in OTM. It's going to be ready in the fall. So I think it can help your career after you have a few years of business experience under your belt.
We have time for a few more questions.
Very cool.